Nobody knew what happened that night. Rain on the pavement, street under light. One car disappeared when the clock struck 2, and every person there had a different view. He said he'd be back before morning arrived, but the city kept moving while the silence survived. Nobody knew what happened that night, only shadows and questions beneath the streetlight. He left the house with his hood pulled low, told his little brother, I'll be back, you know. His mother was sleeping, the television low. He stepped through the doorway and walked through the cold. He had plans for tomorrow, a job to pursue, a list of small promises he wanted to do. But one phone call changed the shape of the night, and suddenly nothing about it felt right. A friend sent a message and deleted the text. He called back twice, but nobody answered next. The neighborhood whispered, then everyone stopped, like the whole block knew something. Nobody would talk. A car rolled slowly, headlights cut in the rain, and vanished around the corner again. He stood by the window, watching the phone running white chest carry such a heavy load. Nobody knew what happened that night. Nobody saw where he went out of sight. Questions in the morning, silence by noon. A room full of memories and an empty room. Nobody knew what happened that night. Everybody had a version, but nobody was right. If the truth was a candle, it burned out of sight, leaving only shadows from that one long night. By sunrise, the street looked ordinary again. Birds on the wires, water from the rain, but inside the house, nothing felt normal. Every little sound made a waiting feel awful. His mother kept asking, and anybody call. His brother kept staring at the wall in the hall. The phone stayed quiet, the screen stayed black, and every passing vehicle made him look back. Someone came knock around 10:30, said I heard a rumor and wouldn't explain. Another one claimed that he saw him downtown, but when they asked questions, he turned and walked out. The stories kept changing, the details were thin. Everybody was talking, nobody would begin. And an old photograph fell out of a drawer, a picture from years they remember before. 3 friends in a frame with a promise to stay, never imagining life could carry them away. Nobody knew what happened that night. Nobody saw where he went out of sight. Questions in the morning, silence by noon. A room full of memories and an empty room. Nobody knew what happened that night. Everybody had a version, but nobody was right. If the truth was a candle, it burned out of sight, leaving only shadows from that one long night. He finally found a note beneath an old chair, folded 3 times like somebody left it there. It wasn't a confession, it wasn't a threat, just words from a person he could never forget. I should have told you, but I didn't know how. If you're reading this, you need to listen now. He read every sentence with tears in his eyes, learning that secrets can hide behind lies. The truth was not simple, the truth was not clean. It lived in the spaces between what they'd seen. One person had panicked, another had fled. Someone had been scared of the words in their head. No hero, no villain could explain every part, just people making choices while breaking a heart. He wished they had spoken before it was late, before fear became silence and silence became fate. He wished one honest conversation could have changed the road, could have lifted the weight that everybody carried home. Sometimes the hardest truth is the one you don't hear. Sometimes a quiet room can reveal every fear. You can't bring back hours, you can't borrow a day. You can't change every choice once it has faded away. So if somebody matters, don't wait for the sign. Tell them what you mean while you still have the time. The night may be dark, but the morning will come, and every new sunrise gives you somewhere to run. Nobody knew what happened that night, but everybody fell when the morning brought light. The questions remained, but the silence grew thin, and slowly the truth found a place to begin. Nobody knew what happened that night, but the memory stayed like a permanent light. He carried the lesson wherever he'd go. Love people loudly before the last chance is gone. Now years have passed and the street looks new, but he still remembers what that night put him through. He doesn't chase rumors, he doesn't pretend. He learned that some stories don't have a clean end. He keeps one on photograph beside his bed, reminder of everything nobody said. Nobody knew what happened that night, but he knows what he learned from the darkness and light. When morning arrives, he opens the door, chooses his future, and carries the past no more. He walks in the daylight, remembers their names, and promises himself never to let